Director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. He joins me now from Kiev. Great to see you, Peter. Okay, so we have, as far as the result is concerned, a continuation of a tradition that began in 1994, these amazingly positive numbers for Alexander Lukashenko. But what we see on the streets, is that also the start possibly of something new?
Yeah, it is indeed looking like it may be a start of something new. In fact, my Belarusian friends and colleagues are calling this a political startup. Belarus as a whole is a political startup, considering that these rallies that we have seen numbering 60, 70,000 people, which is quite large considering the size of Belarus. It's only 10 million people, and so far in the quarter century that you mentioned, the opposition hasn't been able to muster that sort of crowds, and they're completely. I mean, there's no clear central organizing power. There are no clear political leaders. It seems that this is truly a situation where people are just fed up with one man's rule for so long. They're tired of driving a beat-up Volkswagen Jetta. They want to get behind the wheel of a shiny new Tesla. They're tired of this sclerotic regime, above and beyond any ideological differences they may have with the strongman.
There are some reports of observers counting more than 5,000 irregularities during Sunday's vote. How does Lukashenko do this? How is he able to hold on to power and get these numbers between 77 and 84% in an election every 5 years?
It is, in fact, quite ironic considering that, if indeed he were getting 80%, why would he have to resort to such brutal tactics? There's already been a murder, and in fact, the killing of a protester. In order to pull off this result, Lukashenko had to shut down the internet, arrest coordinators of all the major candidates and their colleagues, and in fact just intimidate the rest of the population. And he has placed his own cronies, obviously, in these key positions, controlling voting booths, including obviously the chair of the Central Electoral Commission, the lady who's been in that position close to a quarter century herself. So it's clear that the fraud that's been perpetrated is on a massive scale, and there's no other way that Lukashenko could cling to power. The only difference between now and previous elections is that the fraud is even larger, and the disenchantment with Lukashenko is bigger, and the results that we have seen are actually probably the opposite of what they really are. It is, in fact, the opposition candidate that seems to have gotten close to 80%, and not the other way around.
The system of patronage you talk about is obviously nothing new to rulers who have been in power for so long, and that's something that secures them domestically. Would you expect there to be any sort of pressure on Belarus, externally?
Well, that is a good question, because the EU, the European Union, is facing a conundrum of sorts. It lifted its original sanctions against Lukashenko in 2016 after Lukashenko made a sort of a rapprochement with Europe, etc. And right now it's facing a serious moment. If they reintroduce sanctions, will that mean that Lukashenko will move closer into the embrace of Russia? Russia is watching this very warily. They probably would be ready to accept a different outcome, an opposition win, but only if they have solid guarantees that Belarus, like Ukraine, for example, will not drift towards the NATO and European institutions. That is the one thing that we can be sure. Russia is not going to take this lying down, and that is a serious concern.
Peter, we always appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much. Peter Zalmayev speaking from Kiev.